I mean, I don't know the others coming in, but I think quite a few.
Good morning. So we'll start the session. And those who want to ask any question, please feel free, just let me. Hi, Atma Namaste. Oh, then you can type. Yeah. You can. You want to, you can, otherwise this recording would be available. Okay, Nana is asking, will you be giving recording later for today's session? Yes, Nana. As always, we will give you the recording, the same link, the YouTube link that I've shared.
Thank you.
So before we start, working on the fact that how do we do pain management using hypnosis, we should first understand what exactly is the pain. Now, pain is a subjective experience, which means that everyone experiences pain in a different way, or the scale and effect of the pain is totally different, varies from individual to individual, which basically means that, getting a prick from the pin could be really painful for me, or even a big bruise on my hand is something which I don't care about, or I don't feel pain. So it's exactly, it's totally a subjective experience. We have seen instances where soldiers have lost their limbs and they still continue to fight, because in the given circumstances, they are the totally subjective experience that they're having. It does not matter. Their focus is not on the fact that they don't have a limb, or they're shot, or they're wounded. The focus is on fighting. They still continue to do so. But most of the part, the pain seems involuntary and uncontrollable, which means if I stub my toe, I would cry in pain. And the fun fact is, people who curse experience about 50% less pain considered to people who do not curse. So I'm not suggesting you go all start cursing and every now and then when you get hurt, but well, why not try it? A pain, it's also
but Saket, what is the logic behind it? Cursing.
So Totus, instantly your focus is shifting from the pain point to the word you're using. So it's a mental shift that is happening.
Oh wow.
Break state. If you remember one of the sessions which we did on changing hypnotic anchors session, where we talked about different states that we are in, and we did a thing called break state. So if you're in a pleasurable state or in a state of sorrow, we said, okay, now break the state and you can induce a new state. So this basically works as a break state.
Okay, by the way, this is the first session I'm doing with you.
I'll share the link, YouTube link. You can go back to the sessions. But anyway, wherever you feel any questions, please do ask and I would answer them.
Sure, thanks.
It's also a psychophysiological experience, neurological learning, associations, conditionings, which basically means that it is possible to control it. and even abolish it. Which is the good news. You know, if you can control it, you can abolish it. This definitely is a good news. And how do we do that? We'll come back to it once we go through the modalities that we have. Usually, you know, if you typically see persistent acute chronic pains are the pains where people really want to you know, go about and get therapy or need some control in that. So if you have a headache, you can definitely use one of these techniques. Will you use it? I don't know. I do use it, and it does help. So, or you would rather pop a pill, which is much more easier than doing a, you know, getting somebody to do a 5-minute session on you. But for the chronic conditions where the pain is a part of your life, definitely people would go under therapy, would go under hypnotherapy to manage it and even get rid of it. So the example that I really, you know, I don't know who gave it to me, but the fact that let's say you have to deliver a message to one of your friends. The message is of so important that it's a matter of life and death. And you reach the friend's home, there's no phone. What would you do? The first thing you'll do is ring the doorbell. If there's no answer, you would start banging the door. And if it's actually a matter of life and death and you know your friend is inside, you would break the door and go in. So that's what pain is all about. Pain is actually telling you to give attention to that specific body part, calling your attention so that you can take remedial measures and further damage would not be done. How does acute pain happens is when we consistently, we ignore the doorbell, we ignore the thumping of the door. So what happens? Our dear friend, our subconscious mind has to break the door, which is give us an acute pain to get our attention to that specific body part. So in essence, pain is usually the effect and not the cause. Now, every pain serves a purpose. So it would also help to know what is the purpose of that particular pain. Tensions result in headaches, shoulder pains, stress and anxiety, stomach pains, if not eaten, you get cut, you get hurt, there's a pain swelling, so that you know, you focus and you start to control it. So knowing the purpose of the pain is very important. Sometimes there are psychological purpose of the pain, you know, due to the pain, if the person is getting attention and subconsciously they're hooked to the pain, then you have to work on that. People love to talk about their pain because they, you know, at one point it becomes such a big part of their life that that's become the most primary thing they can talk about. Now, the interesting fact is, you know, the experience of pain that you have consists of past remembered pain. So how we remember it constitute the major part how we experience the pain. And how we anticipate the pain is also how we will experience the pain in future. So if I say I usually have a severe headache, and I always anticipate that if this is going to happen, I will have like this, it'll be very severe. I would have a couple of things happening. The pain would be very severe. So you can actually remove 2/3 of the pain by amnesia, pseudo orientation of time. We'll talk about both. Amnesia is, forgetting about a certain thing, so forgetting about a certain experience. Pseudo orientation of time helps, like oh, this pain would stay with me. I have a subconscious image where I say that this pain is going to stay with me for 10 hours or 12 hours or 3 days or 1 week. So I would keep experiencing it in expectation.
Saket, your voice is breaking.
Yeah,
Saket, your voice is breaking.
Yeah, the voice is breaking.
okay. So probably we can try. People who are on video can mute, turn off the video and switch the audio. That would give us a better bandwidth, probably. Somewhat better. How's the voice now?
Better.
Better.
Good. Audible.
Good. So keep pointing it if in between we have this issue.
Please explain the pseudo orientation again, because that part we missed because of the break.
Okay. Pseudo orientation of time is that when I have a set fact in mind that this pain is usually would last me 3 days or 2 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours. So those who have done the basic course with me or advanced course with me, they would understand that when we are under hypnosis, we really are not able to guess the time. 5 minutes can seem like 20 and half an hour or 1 hour can seem like 5 minutes. So it's basically pseudo orientation. So we put a person in the trance, we condition them that whenever they will experience this pain, those 3 hours or 3 weeks or 5 days would be over in 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. And that would happen. That would require you to understand the hypnosis, but main focus of today's the techniques that we're going to use is most of the techniques would not require any trance induction. So this I've taken from a book called Approaches, Ericksonian Approaches. It's a wonderful book if you want to understand Ericksonian approach on hypnosis, which is non-direct approach. And the book would also introduce you to a lot of other, scripts which you can use in different scenarios.
Can you please repeat the name of the book?
Ericksonian Approaches, a comprehensive manual by Ruben Batino.
Thank you.
Now, before we start working on somebody's pain, there are a couple of things that we need to be really careful of. What is the medical issue behind this pain? If somebody is suffering from damaged knees and having pain in the knees, would you simply go and anesthetize the knee and simply remove the pain? That would actually result in more damage to the knees than actually serving the purpose of pain removal. The pain would get removed, the knees would get more damaged, and the person might not be able to walk. If somebody has a back pain and they simply remove the back pain, well, there could have been an injury that required the person's attention. So if you don't have a clear medical indication of the case, do not remove the pain 100%. Bring it down to a level where the person can manage it, with a suggestion that they should see the doctor or concerned person within 24 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, 2 hours, whatever is the required time frame. And if they fail to do so, the pain would come back, or would be more or less to the same extent. So this would be a suggestion that you would be giving. So if the pain removal will cause further complications, do not remove the pain. Understand that. Understand the secondary gain, if any, as I was talking about. Why is there a reason the person is clinging on to the pain? Some of the techniques that we will now go into would apply equally to emotional pain and physical pain. So the brief history, of hypnosis and of pain management is, we can talk about sleep or dream temples of ancient Egypt, where people used to go, and there was certain atmosphere created that would induce a trance state, and people would get well, including from pain. Or shamanism, dancing, rhythm, music to induce trance, and then give suggestions that you would not be feeling the pain. That would happen. I that message. Okay, we have again audio. Neha, you can you stop? If we have some problem with videos today, if you are on a video, please. Better now, I guess. I hope so. In 1849, John Elliston, created something called Infirmary of Mesmerism, and pioneered the use of anesthesia in pain control and surgery itself, which he has a full record of. But the guy who actually brought it to the notice of mainstream is James Ezedale. And James Ezedale was in India in 1800s, and he performed over 300 major and 1,000 minor operations using only hypnotic anesthesia. Why did he do that? Because there was no anesthetic, chemical anesthetic till the point. So till 1820 or 26, I guess, there was no anesthesia, no chemical anesthesia, and any and every operation used to be induced under opium, or simply the person would have to go under the blade without any anesthesia. So James Ezedale, he wrote a very wonderful book called Mesmerism, Cases of Mesmerism in India, detailing about more than 2,500 cases where he performed painless surgical operations. And amazing. If you would, if you would just go through that book, the records are amazing. The amount of work that he had done. And then what he did was, then when he went back to Britain, he started teaching doctors this. And since he was not a trained hypnotist, he used to take a lot of time to get people into induction. That was a big problem. Not everybody had a lot of time. And by the time he started teaching it to people, anesthesia was discovered, and it was much more easier to give a chemical injection to somebody than to give him an induction. But in today's world, we have recorded cases where people have gone under surgery without anesthesia or hypnoanesthesia, reducing the amount of anesthesia to about 1/10. There's hypnotic childbirth is very much in fashion, where you can give birth to a child without any painkillers or anesthesia. And recovery rate in such cases is always way better than the normal cases. So I'll simply go through some of the, trial history. Yeah. Like this example, Rolf August applied clinical hypnosis to facilitate deliveries of 295 babies. And in 94% of the cases, hypnosis was the sole form of anesthesia. Successfully done. Dental extraction in 1829, it was, actually recorded. Dentistry and hypnosis is again goes hand in hand. Wonderful. You don't need to have any anesthesia locally administered. Acute pain. David Peterson did a lot of book in recent times. He did a total of 21 controlled hypnotic studies, 18 randomized with acute pain, and the results were really promising. He did a study on chronic pain, pre-surgical preparations, and now we come to the techniques that we can use to reduce pain. So the first, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, Saket.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So though the hypnotic anesthesia is the technique which is mentioned first here, we'll take it up at last because so people who don't have any hypnosis experience would not get bored by the talk of a lot of hypnosis. But reframe, distraction, and disassociation is something that we can practice even without understanding the trance or without the knowledge of the trance. Now, hypnotic anesthesia is induction of anesthesia using hypnosis. One of the byproducts of deep hypnosis is that you do not feel any pain. So simply you hypnotize a person, take him to a deep hypnosis state, anchor him there, and ask them whenever they would do a certain thing, they would be in the same state. So when they are undergoing an operation, they can simply be in that state and not feel the pain. We'll come to reframe, distraction, and dissociation now. We'll go in detail what exactly these mean. Then, of course, symbolism, viewing pain as a knob, turning it down. Metaphors, we can take a patient to the temple of healing, heal them there, do a mindful body scan, fractionate, which is basically divide the pain. The wordings will come back later. So if you remember the class we had on client speak, we said it is always a good idea to understand how the client represents and processes the information, whether it's audio, whether it's visual, or whether it's kinesthetic. So if we understand that, then it would be easier for us to give a suggestion to the client or talk to the client where we would know whether he or she would let the pain fade away or slowly vanish. So one is auditory, the other one is visual. And secondly, as we said, see what they are talking. So if you hear words like burning, tender, sharp, dull, hot, boiling, searing, nagging, ripping, you know what exactly they're talking about. So if it's burning, maybe my metaphor of, reframing, like you're pouring a cold water and the sensation is no longer there. If it's ripping, stitch it up. Pulsating, slow down the pulse. You basically have to reframe the association that they have. Any questions on this? Reframing?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. So metaphor that the client is using, you have to use similar metaphors.
No, so let's
to
say,
bring the pain down.
No. Since you are reframing, you would go to the opposite of the metaphor.
Yeah. I mean, in the same context, right?
Yes, in the same context.
Okay. All right.
If you're doing it on your own and you don't know what kind of, pain is it then?
See, if it doesn't know and simply says the pain, there are other techniques we'll use. We can use fractionation. Anybody has any pain right now? We can take a live example.
Yeah, I have a little bit of pain in my middle finger.
Okay. So would you please turn on your can you turn on your video?
Yeah.
Okay. Just let me speak the view.
It's not a middle finger, it's a second finger.
Yeah,
The ring
there's a
finger.
lot of light coming in between from you, but that's fine. We'll. So can you describe what is the pain? What is the pain that you're feeling?
A curtain rod fell on it.
Okay.
So it's lesser now. It was 2 days back, but still, like if I do my hand like this, I can still feel the pain.
You still feel the pain.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just a minute. So simply close your eyes.
Should I put off my video?
Okay, you can. No issues.
Okay, yeah.
Close your eyes. And
आप पूरा
focus.
जार को लेके नीचे चले जाएंगे नहीं तो बल्ली सफाई नहीं कर पाएगा.
Now focus on the finger. And I want you to imagine and visualize and see the pain as some energy. So what color is the pain? Harpreet?
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yes?
Um,
What color is the pain? The first thought that comes to your mind.
Pink.
Okay. Now, what I want you to do is rate the pain on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the minimum and 10 being the maximum. Where exactly is the pain right now?
I would put it at 4.
4. Great. Now, what I want, is it in your left hand or in your right hand?
Left hand.
So, keeping your eyes closed, focus on your breath. And using your right hand, gather that pink energy
Mm-hmm.
into a ball.
Okay. An imaginary
Just
ball?
imagine it. Just imagine it. Yes. Imagine it, visualize. And when you're gathering,
Okay.
make sure that you gather all the pink energy into this ball. Make sure again. And once you've gathered it into your right hand, see if the color changes or remains the same. And how big is the ball? Let us know.
The thought that came to me that the color is changing to the red,
Okay.
and the bowl is a normal size bowl
Right.
or medium size bowl.
Okay. Now what I want to do is keep your eyes closed, take a deep breath, and I'll count from 1 to 3. At 3, you'll be able to break this ball into 2.
Into 2.
Yes, in 2 parts.
In halves or the full bowls?
The full ball into 2 halves, right?
Okay. Okay.
Take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Break that ball into 2 and hand over one of the parts to me.
Okay.
And as you hand over, you realize that it is losing control over you. It no longer gives you that discomfort and sensation. In a moment, not right now, but in a moment, I'll count 1 to 3 again. And then again, you'll break that remaining part into 2 and give it to me.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, now. Give it to me.
Yeah.
As you give it to me, you'll realize that it's losing control over you. Harpreet, now I would like you to rate on a scale where it was earlier 4, where exactly is it now?
1.
Since I do not know the exact medical reason, have you got it x-rayed?
No, 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 no.
Okay, so
It
I'll leave
didn't,
it.
it didn't, वो नहीं हुआ, क्या बोलते हैं, सूजा नहीं, so I
Okay,
didn't.
so have you ever held ice in your hand?
Yeah. I did the ice pack.
Okay, so just close your eyes and imagine that you're applying that ice to that finger. And as you imagine, as you visualize those sensations,
थोड़ा हटा दीजिए बल्ली वेट कर रहा है सफाई
Hmm.
that's right. And as you apply it, you would notice that it would start to go down towards zero. That's right. You can feel the numbing sensation. Perfect. Now tell me where exactly is the pain.
It's nearly gone.
So from 4 to what you would rate now?
Less than 1. Not fully 0, but less than 1.
Because we did not do it fully zero. As I, the
Okay.
precaution, since you had not gone to a doctor, I do not know whether you have injured it or not. But if you want to, you can simply take it down and bring it down to 0 right now. Do you want it?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Fair enough. So this is one of the examples. So how easy was it? Did we use any hypnotic induction? We did not. The whole idea was to simply bring down the focus, reframe in the word. If we would have noticed, since I took her attention when I started to give it a color, I stopped using the word pain. I simply said that feeling, that disassociation, and then saying it is losing all the control. So without even talking about the pain, I'm simply referring to, I'm disassociating, reframing, and the pain would start to go down.
This kind of example will remain consistent in all kind of pains, or this is for this particular pain? I mean,
Any
the
kind of pain, any
the
kind of
color.
so this is the easiest of the techniques. Give it a color, give it a size, give it a shape. Refract, you're fractionating basically. So we're fractionating, we are reducing it step by step. Fractionation is one of the easiest ways to get rid of the pain.
So it would work similarly in the knee pain or a elbow pain or anywhere.
Exactly. See, we are differentiating the pain. The mind is not. We are giving it a name. The back pain is there. The elbow pain is there. The thumb pain is there. It is either muscular or either a nerve pain.
And the same technique we can use for our patients also,
Yes, of course.
like you did just now.
Exactly. And it would take exactly 2 minutes to bring down the pain.
But if the person is a pretty layman kind of a person who doesn't know how to describe the color or the thing, I mean, we can still imagine the things, but a layman would not.
No.
He
Who
would
can't?
identify the color or something.
That's
then-
okay. You would be surprised they'll come up with a color. Everyone would.
Okay.
Let's say, focus on the finger. If you have a throbbing feeling, pain pe throbbing to hoti hai na?
Yeah.
Ask them to focus on that. Look at the rhythm. Reduce the rhythm. अगर वो 1 सेकंड में 2 बार थ्रॉब कर रहा है तो 1 सेकंड में 1 बार करेगा, फिर 4 सेकंड में 1 बार करेगा, फिर 5 सेकंड में 1 बार करेगा, और जैसे जैसे ये ड्यूरेशन बढ़ती जाएगी टोटल इफेक्ट पेन का कम होता जाएगा.
So we have to customize it as per the patient.
Exactly. You have to keep that's why I'm teaching you the principles. I'm not giving you the script, though at the end of the session I've kept certain scripts. We'll discuss about those scripts, but I'm giving you the principles behind the scripts. So you can use the principles, devise your own script. You don't need to read anything. You don't need to remember anything, as long as you know the principles.
Great.
why didn't we make it 0?
Yeah.
Why didn't we make it 0?
As I said, I had no idea whether she had a fracture or not. We could have done it, make it a 0. But the very first thing I said is precautions, medical issues. I have no idea if her, finger is broken or there's a fracture. Though she's saying, but she has not gone to a doctor. That's why I did not bring it to 0.
Okay.
So if her pain comes back after a couple of hours, then should she repeat the same thing or should she go in for a medical view?
I would always say that if that's the only thing, it would not come back. She can repeat it once more. And if it comes back, then should she, then she can add a suggestion that, in case it requires medical attention, it should come back and she would go to a doctor.
Okay, so we put that intent while we are treating the person.
Yes. So how many times has it happened that people have, you have, you basically go to a doctor's office for a certain pain, and the pain is no longer there as you sit there in the, in doctor's office, or the symptoms that you have, they start to elevate.
Yeah, this happens.
This is why this happens is that our subconscious understands that we are taking care of the problem. And since we are taking care of the problem, it no longer requires the attention that it was asking you to give it.
Wow.
So if you've already given the attention, you don't need to give it the attention, and then it works that way.
So can we imagine that we're sitting in a doctor's office and, getting treated without going there?
The idea, again, I would come back to the first slide, precautions. You have to understand that the body is telling you, asking for your attention for a very specific reason. You want to fool it? Yes, go ahead, fool it for the time being. But then it would come back with a vengeance. So instead of ringing the doorbell, it's going to break the door down. So if you're ready for that, yes, please go ahead. Distractions are simply distractions happen so many times in our life. We get bruised while playing, and we really don't remember. We don't feel the pain. Marks on body, we suddenly realize, when did this happen? I don't even remember, bumping against something. Soldiers in battlefield have already given example. They, totally distracted. So we can use the same thing, same example, and do a distractive thing, move the focus or attention to something else. Anybody else with a pain? Any pain? We can simply do this demo also. Good, nobody has it. So you can simply take the distraction to the time when they were completely healthy, they were not feeling it, or if it is in the left hand, you can bring their attention to the right hand. Say, the right hand is feeling right, light or hot or warm or cold, whatever. So the feeling, sensation, visualization would shift from the place where the injury is to a place where there's no injury, they're completely healthy, and it would merge. You having a severe headache and suddenly something interesting comes up, you talking to somebody, there are a lot of people in discussion and you forget about it. And once the discussion is over, the headache is back. And you keep wondering what happened. And one more, self-distraction we do is that how many times we've had a pain in the office or at a place where we consider it inappropriate, maybe in a function or someplace else where we don't want to. So we say, okay, I'll somehow manage. And when we reach home, it comes back with vengeance. And we're, totally incapacitated. The pain, the amount of pain was still there at the same level when we were at someplace else, but we were able to dissociate ourselves, giving ourselves excuses, telling our unconscious mind that this is not the right thing to do at this point of time. People sometimes talk of needing to escape their pain, and we can help them do it hypnotically. It works like wonder. We have something of us, we've taken up a script by Erickson where he talks about it. We'll go through it in detail at the end of the lecture. Disassociation means breaking apart in some ways. It is frequently used to describe the separation between the conscious and the unconscious in our mind. This works like a charm. So moving away, like I said, give me your pain with Harpreet. I took it. So the moment as she broke it, she fractionated it. We could have simply said, you have thrown it away, and the pain would still go away. But with fractionation, I also built in disassociation. I said, now you hand that energy or half to me. And what happened? The subconsciously mind went into a disassociative state with that. We can all do an example of a disassociative state. We can use use our left hand.
Also, why didn't you say throw away?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say the pain? You could have said throw away the pain.
I could have said thrown away. I could have said let's burn it. I could have said let's bury it. We can use different metaphors. It's only disassociation. So when you throw something away, does it remain with you? It does not. So you already set unconsciously, you are disassociating it.
So when we are doing it for ourselves, we need to throw it away or bury it, right? Yeah, you
So
were there,
when I do it for myself, I imagine there's a imaginary friend called Tim sitting with me, and I hand it over to him, and he goes and throws it away somewhere else.
Okay.
And it works like charm. Yeah, I did not hear the question. Okay, I guess we'll move. Hypnotic anesthesia, we'll come back to it. So some pointers like track that pain, grade. Grading is something which, which we should always do so that it's easier for the client to understand that the pain has reduced. When you bring the conscious mind to grade the pain, they've already decided that the pain is at a certain point. And when you do the exercise, it would automatically shift it down. And when you ask them to again grade it, they get anchored into that state. So people who have attended the hypnotic anchor class, they would understand how meaningful that is. So as a simple act of grading it before the session starts and grading it after the session starts is a big step. You can also do a mental image of bringing the number down, sliding the scale down from pink to lighter pink to, moving it to a whiter shade, or induce numbness. Holding the eyes or being in the eyes of the person has actually had anesthesia or a sleepy hand. I will now give me a moment. I'll see. So now let's try to get into a state where we can experience the hypnotic anesthesia. So we will all participate into it. You will give me the feedback. After I do, we'll do a very small thing and then we'll take the feedback of how you were feeling. So what I would ask you is to take your hand and pinch here like this, and it would hurt a bit. And once you've done that, make a note on your pain scale. How much does it hurt? I'm assuming that everybody would have done that. Or you can do it at the back of this. This would hurt more.
It's really hard.
Yeah, so the idea is now in your mind, give it a scale on a scale of 1 to 10, where exactly what is the pain that you're experiencing. It could be 1, it could be 5, it could be 10, does not matter. Now keep this hand on a flat surface. And I want all of you to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, focus on your breath. Inhale and exhale. And build that relaxation. Now I want you to imagine the time when your hand was in a state, what we typically call it haath so gaya. You know, we can't simply feel anything. It feels as if it's somebody else's hand. It might have happened to all of us. So I want you to remember that time and generate the same feelings in the hand. Or maybe you would have, it's a cold weather, or you were holding the ice and you started to feel numb in your hand. And what happens when you feel numb? Yes, exactly. You start to lose the sensation. So as you are thinking about holding that ice, or the time when your hand was totally in a sleep mode, you would know that you would stop feeling any sensation. Now enhance that feeling. In that hand of yours. And that hand is getting number and number with every passing breath. The hand is more numb than the last time. And you'll be surprised. Then it would get so numb that you could now, while your eyes are closed, you can use the right hand and gently touch the back of your left hand. And you will feel very less of the touch. Keep focusing on the breath. And whatever you're doing to your left hand, whatever you're doing to it, it would not bother any sensation. Now simply touch the point where you pinched before and pinch it now. And pinch it twice as hard. And you'll be surprised that you would not feel anything. That's right. So quickly, responses, open your eyes, take a deep breath, feel relaxed. What happened now?
Nothing happened to me. I felt the same.
Okay.
I couldn't understand your instruction.
So we had a bad audio, but that doesn't matter. Anybody could feel.
Yeah, I want, Saket, I wanted to tell you, I have experienced, I mean, I followed whatever you said and it was amazing. And I mean, at the end, I actually could not, feel the pain when I pinched twice. So it was, yeah, it really worked.
No, it works. I have no doubt about it.
What I meant was, yeah, this experience was like a eye opening for us, like, for me at least. So it's an amazing feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So so typically anesthesia is a state which would come into different people at different time. And since we are all off video, we are doing a group session. I don't know how, it's so how many of you did experience some reduction? I would request.
I did.
Yeah?
I did. Yeah.
I also didn't feel the next time I pinched, there was no pain.
Okay.
Yeah, lesser than before.
Saket, I felt a bit of reduction.
Yeah.
But there was another pain in my lower back, which also got reduced without my doing anything to it.
Yeah, because we were trying to induce hypnotic anesthesia and it would happen all over your body. The only that your focus was on your hand, it does not mean that the other part of the body would not feel it.
Oh, okay. So the instruction works in totality.
No, the instruction was very specific to the hand, but since your subconscious mind needed it in the other part also, it applied it there also.
Oh, fabulous.
But Saket, initially when I kept the hand on the table,
yeah,
then the pain initially traveled to my shoulder, but it disappeared later. That's a different point.
Okay.
Initially it traveled from the hand to the shoulder.
Yeah. So now, if it's traveling from one part to another, you have demonstrated the ability to move it, right? So now, since you can move the pain from one part to another, same way you can move the anesthesia. So let's say what I typically do is induce the sensation of anesthesia in the hand, which is like glove anesthesia, easiest to induce, and then keep your hand here and transfer it to your jaw. It would get transferred immediately. So when you're doing a one-to-one session, within about 15 minutes, you can have a complete anesthesia, which means you can use a pin, prick the person, the blood would come out and the person would not feel it. But make sure you have that, whatever you're pricking with is, you sanitized it, it's not infecting the person. So there's a state, some of you would remember what we call as a Acidale state or bliss state. It's named after Dr. James Acidale. And who was in the class? Nana was in that class, right? We did it on Sham. Nana, you there? I don't know. She seems to be, but
Yeah, I'm there, Sakit. I'm there. Yeah.
Okay. So, we took about 15-20 minutes to take Sham to that state.
Right
And
now?
no, not right now. I'm saying, if you remember, we did that.
Yeah, of course I remember, yeah.
And in that state, if you could share what happened with him, and then I'll explain.
Okay, I will. I'll just do that. Okay, so because we used Sham as a subject that day when we were doing the advanced class. And he had very beautiful experience, I would say, that day, as per Sham, which he, in fact, explained it to Saket also. But for us people, those who were there in the class, it was quite a shocking experience and quite scary, because he could not feel anything. He could hear us, but he was not responding. And he was not opening his eyes. So he was in a deep state of trance that day. And of course, the experience what he had was really miraculous, because he was in a zone where there was no night and no day, and a white everywhere and all that, whatever he explained. But yes, Saket pricked him. Saket was calling him. He was like, he even threw water on him, but he did not open his eyes.
So we pinched him really hard that day. We pinched on his earlobes, we pinched on his hand. We basically could have slapped him. We could have stabbed him and he would not have felt anything. So that's the state that we need to induce in the client if somebody is looking for us hypnosurgery or hypnobirthing. So you could actually take about 3 sessions of 20 minutes, or take 3-4 sessions and train the client to go into that state all by themselves. So whenever they are undergoing a medical procedure, all they have to do is get into that state using one of the anchors, and perfect. They would be like in a condition where they're not feeling any pain at all.
Yeah, we saw that day. It was and the other students in the class were saying, "Yaar, ye jaan nahi rahe, tumhe kuch ho nahi raha." I said, Saket is there, so nothing to worry. He will come back. Don't worry.
Yeah, because we all, there's no recorded case that people will not come back, so nothing to worry as such.
No, but and the best part was about this trance and taking him to that sleep was, Sham was very positive about it, and the kind of experience he had in those 20-25 minutes was really, miraculous. Or I would say, we all who are on a spiritual path want to experience that. And we've been getting up every day and meditating, and Sham could go in that state in bare 20-25 minutes. I can just say like that.
Yeah, so that the alternate name for that state is bliss state. It is also known as coma state. Earlier it was known as coma state. It is also known as acidyl state, where you experience a complete disassociation from the bodily sensations. So those are the states that we use in this condition where somebody is going for a operation or a childbirth experience. And you could give suggestion that they would retain those sensations whenever in a specific body part or whole of the body, whenever that is required. Now the upside is that people who underwent surgery using hypnosis, the recovery rate was really very high compared to us. If it's supposed to get better in a month, probably you would be out in a week to 10 days using the purely hypnotic sensation, because you're wide awake at that point of time. The body does not experience any shock and trauma. So even when you are under anesthesia and you are operated upon, the body does go under shock and other things. But when you're doing this under hypnotically, that does not happen. Typically, okay, we'll look at certain other things and then we'll come back to it. We can use wordings like everyone has that ability. So we're saying that ability. We're not naming that ability. You just need it enough and it will appear for you. So it could be the ability to control pain. It could be ability to control a certain emotion. It could be ability to do certain things. So since we're talking about pain, we'll limit our discussion to the pain. We are giving the person a resource where they will be able to manage and control. You know, once under the trance, or you simply give them a suggestion, think about the ways of blocking the pain and choose the one that you think works best for you. So one of the classes that we were doing, we simply asked somebody, to be on the beach and know that somebody would come and help them in getting rid of that pain. So they imagine, we said somebody who really loves you, cares for you, would come and do that. So they imagine the person came, applied some cream on the part where the pain is, and the pain went. So it simply vanished, because that's what the mind knew. The mind knew if this person would come, they would probably have, and it would work that way. And we surprise ourselves every time when we do a hypnotherapeutic treatment that the solution to the problem need not be logical. Our mind is so creative that it would come up with something to simply manage it and do it. Again, seeding, the way that water can just dry up and vanish, and how sometimes if a picture is left out where the sun can get to it, it fades away. Well, that happens to other things too. So what are you suggesting? That as it fades, the water would dry up, the picture would fade. You seeding the idea that the pain, now we're talking about chronic pain, because managing other kind of pain is very easy. We just took an example, did a session on Harpreet, couple of minutes, the pain was gone. The higher the intensity of the pain you feel, the better it is if it's a recording that you're using or somebody else is doing it on you. The lower the intensity, you will be easily able to control yourself. And until unless it's of extreme nature of pain, you'll be able to control it yourself. You really don't need even a recording or anything else. The first way you can block your pain is focus on the area. So what we're doing is, it's a binding statement. We said the first way you can block, we have assumed that you will be able to block. So it's an assumption, is to focus on the area you want to be made better. So as the person would start focusing on the area, what would happen? They would start blocking the pain subconsciously, because that's what you've suggested them. It doesn't seem like that, but that's what it happens. Now bring the mind to a colored spot. Think of the color that is right for the spot you want to change. So you can take the color away, you can fade the color away. There's multiple things you can do. And think about the spot, take a deep breath, and then imagine somehow breathing out through the spot. Yeah, it would work. If you could simply imagine that you're breathing the color out or the sensation out, the pain would start getting lighter, lighter and lighter, and totally go away. And you could give a suggestion, but would make sure that it gets embedded, and continue enjoying the change. And with each breath out, let out the spot until it fades away. That's a good way to go. Wipe it away. Getting a positive memory that you were a doctor, something bad was about to happen, and it simply vanished away. Okay, anybody else here with some pain so we can work on?
There's pain in my forefinger. Left hand, forefinger.
Okay, so which method would you like to use?
I don't know.
Pick up.
Any method?
So I want you to do it on yourself. Can you switch on your camera? Is it possible?
Yeah, yeah. No, not there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm there.
So which finger is it?
This is the finger.
Okay.
This finger, forefinger, left hand.
So what would you like to do? Would you like to take it away? Would you like to freeze it? Would you like to scale
So
down?
much of household work. Yeah.
Everything would work. You just have to. So the first step is grade it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the minimum, 1 being the minimum, 10 being the maximum.
It's about 4.
Okay.
4 to 5. 4.
Now, what is the best method that you feel like? Would you like?
To go away completely.
Okay, you wanted to go away completely.
Yeah.
Now, imagine you are in a very safe room, a room out of your imagination, perfectly safe. And in that room, there's a almirah. Inside that almirah, there are multiple things. I don't know what they are, but your subconscious mind knows. And among those things is something which would take this sensation, discomfort away from you. Open the almirah, take that thing out, and tell me what it is.
It's a scarf. It's a scarf.
And what would you do with this scarf?
Wrap it around my finger.
And as you wrap it around your finger, you know your pain would start to go down. The sensation would no longer be there. And you would wrap it to the point where the pain is no longer there. Keep doing that. Now each wrap, bringing it down 1 point. So from 4, 3 to 2 to 1 and to 0. What happened to Mang?
Still there.
And on a 1 to 4, what's the scale now?
It's about 2.
Look into that almirah again. You would know there's something else to do. You need to do to bring it down to 0. What is that?
That's my husband's necktie.
Okay, do that. Take your time. We're not in a hurry.
I should wrap it up with that.
I don't know. You knows.
Okay.
Maybe touching it, maybe wrapping it, maybe simply wearing that necktie would take that pain away. How do I know? Only you know. Because you are doing it. How did you manage to bring it down to 2? I do not know that, but you do. And now you know that how would you manage to bring it down from 4 to 0? Yep. Take your time. We're not in a hurry. If you want, you can share the experience, what is happening.
I can feel some sensation, and
Okay.
it's like it's traveling down to the fingertip. And now, as I'm talking to you, I can feel a inflammation on the outer side of the finger.
Okay. If it's an inflammation, does it feel hot or does it feel cold?
Hot.
Okay. Now, as if it feels hot, imagine that a cold air is now around your finger and it start to cool it down. With every breath you take, it would cool down and do away with this sensation. That's right. Perfect. Where has it reached on the scale of 1 to 10?
The inflammation is almost gone, and I feel cool on my finger. It's like now I can at least curl my finger around with a slight pain now.
So imagine that the pain is also fading away with that cold, and that cold is healing you. That's right. And in a while, not now, in a while, when you'll open your eyes, you'll retain that feeling with you. And you will not experience the discomfort. How did you do that?
Very slight, but it's there.
That's okay. So from 4 it went down to 1, right?
Yeah, less than 1.
Okay.
Less than 1.
So we'll move your, now we'll take another example of moving the attention, right? So again, focus on the finger where you have the pain. Now focus on the other hand. On the same finger on the other hand where you don't have the pain. Now remember the sensation. Amplify it.
Okay.
And somehow magically you know that the sensation of no discomfort, you'll be able to transpose, copy or paste on the finger where you have the discomfort. As I count from 1 to 3, it would happen now. 1, 2, 3, now. Tell me.
It's very slight, but it's there.
That's okay. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Anybody else? We can do any other technique. So pains related with, you know, which are emotional in nature can be dealt with the same way.
Yeah, hi Saket. I just wanted to ask you that, you know, the pain management you're saying, it's only physical or emotional pain also?
Both the physical pain and emotional pain. If you,
Okay.
you know, in one of my previous classes, we talked about a technique called spinning. And there was another technique called grayscale, gray room. And both can be applied again on a physical pain or on a emotional pain.
Okay. So I would like to, if you, I mean, I can be I would like to try on this.
So do you have a pain right now, emotional or physical?
Yeah, physical, emotional pain I have.
Okay. So close your eyes.
Okay.
Take a deep breath.
Okay.
Start focusing on your breath. We also call it a body scan. So keeping your eyes closed, scan your body, and you would know, you would have a feeling, you would see it energetically, that what part of the body the pain is in.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Now, since you can feel that, if you would notice closely, that place would have some color to it. What color is it?
Blue.
Now, I want you to use one of your hands and touch the part of your body where you see that blue.
Okay.
Now, what I want you to do is, using one of your hands, start removing that blue and start placing it on the other hand. Make sure you take all the blue away to the other hand.
Okay.
Take your time. We are not in a hurry. Make sure again. And once you've taken all the blue, let me know.
Okay.
Now hold that blue using both your hands and put it in front of you as if you're looking at it.
Okay.
Now, first thing I want you to notice is whether the color has changed or it has remained the same.
I missed that. Actually, can you repeat that?
What is the color? Has it changed or it is the same?
I feel heavy actually.
Okay. What is the size? Now that you're holding it from both the edges, how big is it?
It's the size of a mango, normal mango.
Okay. Now notice clearly and you'll see that it is all the color energy is moving in one direction. It could be left to right, right to left, up to down, down to up. I don't know. You would know. What direction is it moving in?
It's spinning actually clockwise.
It's spinning clockwise. And I want you to hold it from both your hands and start spinning it in anti-clockwise direction. Do it faster, faster, and faster. Okay. Double the speed, triple the speed, quadruplate the speed. That's right. Faster and faster till you see that it has life of its own and you know it would not go back in your original direction. Keep spinning it.
Okay.
And once you're sure it will not go back, slam it back in. Slam it back in from the place that you took it. Right now.
Okay.
Notice the difference?
Yeah, there is no physical pain which I was feeling earlier.
What happened to it?
I mean, so the pain is not there. The physically which I was experiencing, the emotional pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now what you can do is the same step you can do for each of the emotion that you're experiencing. You'll scan for that emotion. You'll see where exactly is it in your body part. And you would then spin it back in a different direction and slam it back in. So the first part we did was take the physical pain away. The physical pain vanished, right?
Correct.
So,
but Saket, the spinning. So when I took, so for example, if I have another emotional pain which I need to address, then when I do the breathing, then it may be in, for example, it could be in my shoulder. So I would take that. So the color would also varies. And if I take the pain from my shoulder and keep it in my hand, the size may even change.
Yes, yes, everything.
And
Besides,
also when it came as a, like, it's the pain is spinning, so it could react in different manner also. It need not have to be the same way.
so what we do is we are looking for it to see what direction is it moving in.
Okay.
So that's why the technique is called the spinning technique. So you're looking at your mind is basically having two states, one for the positive impact, other for the negative impact. So since you're looking at what exactly is this moving in, which direction, the direction that you initially see is the negative direction. So you change the direction and slam it back in, the whole thing goes.
Okay. Okay.
But Saket, how do you identify the emotional pain in which body part? How do you identify that?
You simply scan, close your eyes, see where you feel it. The first thought that comes to your mind. It doesn't have to, I know a lot of us are pranic healers, so try to avoid using that knowledge to relate with this knowledge. That if I have this pain, it would be there. No, wherever it is, it does not matter. Your subconscious knows the best. So if it is telling you that the emotional pain that I'm feeling is in my knee, fair enough, it is in the knee. Don't question it. Clear?
And if we actually have a physical pain in the knee, then also we can apply this technique?
Yes, of course. You can apply, the technique that we used earlier. You can apply this technique. We can apply the glove anesthesia technique, any of the techniques.
Saket, at this age, normally the pains come because of lack of vitamin D or something. So
No,
without
Jyoti,
actually,
you're not clear. Jyoti, you're not clear. Can you repeat the question?
yeah, I'm saying at this age, like normally the pain due to lack of vitamin D. So can we not actually intake the vitamin D and increase the vitamin D of our body to remove it?
See, if you're saying that you can increase the vitamin D, I think the only way to increase the actual physical levels of vitamin D is to, there's some, okay, now there was some disturbance coming in. So that's why we said the precautions we have to take, if we simply make our body believe that the vitamin D has increased, the pain would also stop. But then would it not cause other complications? Your bones may become brittle and all those kind of stuff. So again, medical reasons, if it is there, reduce the pain, start the medical alternative that you have to. Maybe start eating healthy, that diet which is rich in, vitamin D, give that idea to your mind that anyway, vitamin D is any sun. So yes, start going out early morning, start doing your Surya Namaskar or things like that, that you're getting more vitamin D. Pop a pill of vitamin D to help you go. That would work much better than simply fooling the body.
No, actually, I wanted to know this because acupuncturists do this. I got it done for myself. I'm not on vitamin D anymore. My vitamin D levels are normal. So
Okay.
I just wanted to, is it possible in hypnotherapy also?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and how to do that in hypnotherapy?
We'll take it offline.
Okay, sure.
Now the idea is to will simply, this is an example where Milton Erickson, saw a woman, induced a trance by hand levitation. Those of us who have done hypnotherapy, hand levitation is that you place the hand of your subject or a client on a surface, and then you give them suggestions that it is getting lighter and it would rise all by itself, as if by magic. And once the client is in that state, he gave a suggestion that instead of pain, she would now feel pressure. And all the pain would go through her big toe. And That's all. After that, she never needed anesthesia kind of a situation. So we'll just go through a script that John Dan has given in the book called Advanced Ericksonian Hypnotherapy, page 106, 107, 108. It's a 3-page script, but we will quickly go through it and we'll see what are the components they are trying to build in. So managing chronic pain like arthritis. So chronic pain like arthritis, sciatica, people who are going under chemotherapy or any other, post-surgery recovery, these kind of pains are typically easily managed. So it says, as you listen to the sound of my voice, you begin to learn how you can remove discomfort in the future. So those who have attended the suggestibility class, they understand what we're doing. You are giving, this is of course done after you have induced the trance. So trance is a state in which the mind is open to suggestions, and then acting on that suggestions become much more easier. So you just future faced and give them a suggestion. They would learn how to remove discomfort from this point onward. And then you start building the disassociation. And you have discomfort there, and you know that discomfort isn't over here, and it isn't in my chair, it isn't in my space between the chair and the chair, it isn't on a table or in a vehicle outside. So what are you doing? You are giving suggestions to the client that discomfort does not exist in so many places. And then after doing that, they are giving amnesia suggestions like, I put down my keys down for a moment on the chair while I was listening and getting my shoes on, and when I left, I discovered I had forgotten my keys. And you know, we all have experiences like this, and these experiences seems to just happen. We don't need to try to make them happen. They all happen by themselves. And then it gives them a story about a hairdresser leaving an old part in themselves with the hairdresser, and then suggesting you don't want to take what's been removed within you and you want to leave it behind. So what is it? It's a simple script, a simple talk that, so Milton Erickson was a person who would not do a formal induction. He would only talk to the client. So he would talk and things would happen. So imagine when you do a formal induction, give this kind of a talk, what is going to happen? You would be able to achieve, which is something looks like miraculous. But you have to understand what's the principle behind it. So a disassociation, amnesia. So bring up the amnesia that yes, it happens, it's a very normal thing and you can forget things. And then associate it. So the metaphor is that you can forget things, and you have given a suggestion earlier where you're saying that you would learn how to control and remove pain. So you can forget things, you can remove pain. So this script is all about it. And in the end, it says, for the parts of you remain in trance with each breath you take, will the rest of you enjoy getting on with life. John Dan, Advanced Ericksonian Hypnotherapy script, page 108. Okay, now we'll take up the questions, or if anybody has an issue, we can take up the pain issue right now.
Saket, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you said that the pain is coming to give you attention that there is something it's not right here. So somebody's having a back issues for a very long time, so it has a medical background and all that thing is there. Suddenly, there is the middle of a night, and then there is so much of pain, not able to sleep, and it could be an SOS. Even the medicine stop working. So in that case, can we, because we don't want to completely remove it, because when it is okay, then it, as you said, and I agree that you may injure later, because when you don't, the numbness is there, so obviously you feel normal and you may injure. So in that case, for an SOS, what kind of therapy or what kind of hypno would work here as a hypnosist you
So
can suggest here?
you can do a disassociation, or if the pain is severe, then go for hypnoanaesthesia and give them a suggestion that it will last for 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, whatever.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, thanks.
So you have an immediate relief, but they are bound to go to a doctor after 4-6 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
So, Saket, is it okay if I request for my daughter? She's been having this pain for a very long time in between the shoulder blades.
Okay, yeah, we can do it.
Okay. Okay, she's on, Saket.
Okay, what's your name?
Manya.
Vanya. Great. Vanya, what we're going to do is, can you describe your pain? Where exactly you having it? Since how long you having it? How does it feel?
So I've had this pain for almost 11 years now.
Okay.
It's in my left shoulder blade, like right towards the side of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost gone to the point where that it feels numb and my whole arm gets affected. But the pain is like very throbbing, and it swells up my left shoulder and neck once it escalates.
Okay. And have you identified any trigger point? Why does it happen?
Not really.
As you've shown it to doctors, what do they say?
They said it's a spasm. But even when I exercise and all, it feels a little bit better. I have been doing that for so many years, but it doesn't really, heal completely.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
So is it constant? Do you have it right now, or you don't have it right now?
I have it right now.
And on a scale of 1 to 10,
right now it's a 7.
Right now it's 7. So, okay, let's do one thing, Vanya. Close your eyes.
Okay.
And take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And as you do so, focus on the breath. And take another deep breath. And then another. And in a moment, not right now, but in a moment, I would ask you that as you inhale and exhale, start to relax all the eye muscles around your eyes. All the tiny muscles around your eyes, begin to relax them. And you would be able to relax them to the point where they will simply not operate. That's right. Take another deep breath, exhale from your mouth. And once your muscles are so relaxed that your eyes will not operate, try opening your eyes. That's right. Stop trying. Take a deep breath and let that relaxation flow across your body. I want you to bring your focus to the shoulder where you experience that discomfort. Take your attention to the muscles. and the nerves. How does it feel there?
Feels painful.
Pardon me, what?
It's painful. Feels very hard.
If it feels very hard, you would know that sometimes when the earth is hard, we pour water to it and it becomes soft. Or if it's a knot in the rope, the swirls, we can simply remove them in the opposite direction and they become loose. If it's hard because of the tension between the 2 points, you simply give it some reel and it would lose. As I count from 1 to 3, at 3, you would know what exactly you need to do to reduce this hardness of muscles. 1, 2, 3, now. Take all your focus and start to breathe out. And as you breathe out, the hardness of the muscles will begin to relax. That's right. And let it relax more. And when you know that you've reduced it by certain percentages, let us know. What percentage is the hardness reduced now?
By about 15-20% maybe.
That's good. Keep breathing, keep focusing, and with each and every breath, let the relaxation build up. And let the muscles relax to the point where they're no longer hard. That's right. Once again, take your focus to the shoulder and see the sensation that you have there, the throbbing sensation that you initially described. And once you're able to identify the throbbing sensation, that pulsating sensation, time it and tell me what's the duration of the throbbing between the two pulses.
One to 2 seconds.
Take another deep breath. Scan your body. That's right. Now imagine there's a scale, there's a dial, or there's a slider. I don't know what it is, but it is something that your mind can imagine. And this something would be able to control this pain, this throbbing sensation. You can increase it and decrease it by this device. you'll be able to see this device, imagine this device, visualize this device right now in front of you, and you need to tell me what it is.
I didn't really understand.
Okay. So what I'm asking you to do is, we have seen all those knobs and devices and sliders and buttons on an instrument like volume control and everything else.
Okay, like that.
Yes. It could be a dial, it could be a slider, it could be anything. So imagine it in front of you, and this would be able to control the discomfort, the sensation, the throbbing sensation that you're having. So once you can imagine or see something like this, let me know. What is it?
It's a slider which controls the volume on an instrument.
And what position is it in right now? Is it in low position, high position, mid position? Where exactly is it? So what I want you to do right now is move this volume slider, whatever it is, to a point where this discomfort increases. Do that. And if it increases, tell me it is increasing. One is it increasing?
Not really.
Okay. Take a deep breath again. And I want you to imagine the time then you had pain which was more than what it is right now. I want you to feel that pain happening as if it's happening right now in your shoulder. How much are you able to increase it? Tell me.
Yeah, it has increased a little.
Now, same way as thinking about it, you can increase the pain. You also have the ability to decrease the pain by thinking about it. Now, the decrease could be counting backwards from 10 to 0, or a slider, or anything that your mind permits. Now, I want you to imagine a time when there was no pain in that shoulder. Maybe 11 years before, does not really matter. The time your mind takes when there was no pain. Go back to the time and think about the time. Think about the things that you were able to do that you cannot do right now because of this discomfort. And how wonderful that state was. And as you go deeper into that state, you would realize that discomfort is totally gone, coming down and down and down and down, and you would be able to reduce it to almost nil. Where exactly have you reached, Mane, right now?
It is a little less. But I can still feel like slight throbbing, but I feel it's become a little hot, but the pain is lesser.
And what is the best way to decrease the feeling of hotness and bring down the pain that you have, if you ever had a physical pain? Probably apply ice to it.
Ice, yes.
So imagine a person very close to you, the person you love, is standing right next to you, holding an ice pack. And as they put that ice pack onto your shoulder, feel the sensation, feel it spreading it down. and the discomfort would start to go away. The more they love you, the faster it would be. The more you love them back, the faster it would be, and the faster would pain come down. Feel it with every breath, spreading faster and faster. Take your time, we're not in a hurry. Bring it down. That's right. As you were able to move it up, you have the capability to move it down, and you have the capability to totally reduce it or make it vanish, go away, as if it is no longer there, as if it was never there, part of your body. That's right. Now, one cycle applied. On a scale of 1 to 7, where exactly are we?
Maybe a 5. At a 5, yes.
Okay. Now close your eyes. And as I count from 1 to 3, at 3, you would experience the point in time when you experience this sensation for the first time. 1, 2, 3, now. Vane, where are you exactly? Where do you feel? What age was it when you felt it for the first time?
Yeah, I was 12.
And what were you doing that resulted in this pain?
I had bad posture.
Connect to your shoulder. Mentally thank it, all the muscles and the body part for doing their job, even though you had a bad posture. They kept doing what they were supposed to do. And they only called your attention to the part when you needed to mend their actions. And now that you have mended your actions, you have a better posture now. You need not feel the same discomfort. And you can let go of that discomfort. So I want you to imagine visualize and see that with every breath you take, this discomfort is leaving your body because you do not no longer need it. You've corrected your posture. And since you do not need it any longer, you're moving it outside your body. In the same way that you were able to move and increase the pain, the same way you are able to decrease it, bring it down to the 5. In the same way, you can remove it from the body. That's right. Perfect. And once again, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would ask you to take notice of all the changes that you've done and see where have you reached.
You were 3.
And now, do you really want to leave it and reduce it to 1 or 0? Answer that, Vanya.
I want to reduce it to 0.
Good. Then you can. Take another deep breath. I want you to focus on the shoulder that is perfectly fine. Your right shoulder. That's right. And I want you to imagine, visualize the posture, the muscles, the nerves that your right part of the shoulder has. That's right. Imagine them, visualize them, see them at a deeper level. Perfect. And once you're sure you have the image, perfect image, you'll copy this image on your left shoulder, copy it completely, and they'll be mirror of each other, free of any discomfort. Do it once, 1, 2, 3, now. Perfect. Now we'll go back again to the right shoulder, to the shoulder that's perfect, fine, free of any discomfort. We'll again make a vivid image of the muscles and the nerve endings. Get the images right, exact, and move on to your left shoulder and paste. That's right, now. And one more time for the luck. We'll go to the right shoulder. Visualize, imagine. See the color, what it is. See the energy it has. Feel it. Be one with it. And now as I count from 1 to 3, you'll copy and paste the same image of the right shoulder on the left shoulder. Same energy, same color. 1, 2, 3, now. That's right. Perfect. Where have you reached, Vanya?
There's still pain.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where exactly have you reached?
Still a 3.
Still at 3. Then you would need a hypnoanesthesia then. Deepika, you've done hypnosis on her before?
Yes, I have.
So can you induce a anesthesia? After this session, can you do anesthesia on her? I'll send you the script.
Okay, that will be great.
Good.
Yes, please, that would be great. Anji?
So
Yeah, that would be great.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, from 7, we would be able to bring it down to 3 in about 15-20 minutes. How are you feeling right now?
Okay.
Move the shoulder around. Tell me how it feels.
It feels slightly better, but yeah, I can still feel that, it's like a rock hard spasm inside my body.
Okay, fair enough. So, Deepika, you have to do 2 things with her. Relax her and give her a mental imagery after you have giving the anesthesia. Give her a mental imagery that she's breaking those rocks away and either blasting these rocks, the rock hard part that she has, she's breaking it.
Okay.
So you might have to do 1 or 2 sessions, and I think within 2 sessions it should be perfectly fine.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks. That would be really great.
It would be, and we need your feedback on this then.
Sure, I'll wait for the script.
Yeah, or we can do it probably one of the days. I can do it online.
Yeah, whatever is good with you.
Yeah, perfectly works fine. Great. Any more questions?
Later on, you use the word pain. You said you're not supposed to use it, but
So,
later
yeah.
on you're using it.
So what happens was that since I wanted to increase it, decrease it, increase it, decrease it, I was using it and not using it. So the subconscious gets a hint that they are able to manage it. That's why I said, can you increase the pain and can you decrease it to a level? So thinking about it, you were able to increase it. When we're doing it, usually we should refrain from using the word if we don't want to increase it.
Okay.
Saket,
Yeah.
I've been having this on and off show, right knee kind of getting locked because of lack of mobility during this lockdown.
Okay.
I've cured it with the pranic healing right now, but it keeps popping out at times.
Okay.
So what is the best technique to use at that time?
You can try the spinning technique that we tried.
But the lock is like it's like a lock. It's not in the right or left direction.
Okay. So what we can do is
So how do I spin it?
So you said it's locked. It's not moving, right?
या ये जो कड़ाका निकलता कड़क करके एकदम तुम खड़े होते हो.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we can which basically means that we can imagine and visualize, getting more flexibility, filling the gel, like greasing the things, and it would work.
Okay, just imagine.
Yeah, we'll do a session if one of these you're free. We can connect and we'll do a session.
Oh great, ठीक है. जिस दिन होगा मैं आपको करूँगी कॉल.
Yeah. Any more questions? Cool. So we don't have any more questions.
Hey, Saket, one more question.
Yeah.
Question. If someone has piles on and off, then how to deal with that?
Someone has?
Piles.
Okay. So there are actually multiple aspects of that issue. And so both the physical level issue, there's a body organ which is not working properly. So what I was trying to do with Vanya today was a miniaturization session, but since we didn't have time, I just saw that it was like 2 hours already. You basically miniaturize and then take them to the position where this thing was perfectly fine and then transpose it to the portion which is currently now. And then you also do a therapy where you go to the point of origin where this problem it started coming in. It could be emotional issue, could be a physical issue, and you try to do the correction at that point. So yes, there is a way to handle it. We can work it out.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else, or should we call it off? Great, I guess that's it. I'll